The little kid's got the toy for the day, huh?
It's the remix, man.
How are you gonna blaspheme? That's very blasphemous of you to do that over a great Bob Seger song, by the way.
It's the holiday remix of the song.
Blasphemous.
I got you in there. You were in there.
Yeah, I heard it.
You made the remix.
I heard it.
TJ Lang joining us for the 3 o'clock hour. TJ, I don't know how much you heard driving in. Asked a couple questions, and then we got a lot for you.
Oh, boy.
Oh, they're good things. We're not ambushing you.
Okay.
How did the Lions finish out this year? 4-0. Record-wise.
We got 4 left.
I got them at 2-2. I think that tomorrow, going into the game, I think that Russell. It's hard for me to say this, but I think Russell Wilson's playing better than Jared Goff as of this moment.
Well, that's hard to argue over the past, 3 out of 4, I guess.
And then I look at Campbell going up against his mentor in Sean Payton, and I wonder how much of that is him trying to really beat his mentor,
trying to prove a point.
And are you going to see more Dan Campbell tomorrow?
Could be. I mean, we'll start with that. I thought about that earlier in the week. I think more often though, when you get a guy like Dan Campbell didn't leave Sean Payton's staff, with ill intentions or get fired or anything.
No,
They're
right.
not trying to prove a point to the guy. He got obviously promoted.
It's not proving a point, but TJ, it's like whenever you go back, if you play one of your former teams, you want it a little bit more. You definitely do what you want. Summer's a lot easier when you could meet them at the beach and kind of be like, we beat you.
Yeah, you want to prove a point. You use that as motivation. I think Dan did that a couple weeks ago when they went down to New Orleans. And kind of the same thing. He didn't leave on bad, with any bad intent.
Right.
What I mean? He didn't get fired from there. He left, but. There's still some motivation there when you go back. You want to prove that, hey, they're missing me a little bit type of thing. And Sean Payton, I'm sure that's going to be motivation for Dan Campbell. I think Dan Campbell is just such a consistent guy, though. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't make it about himself. He doesn't make it about, hey, guys, get one for the skipper. This one's going to mean a lot to me. No, they don't do that. The players know that this probably means a little bit more to Dan Campbell, going against his mentor, but I don't think that that's going to have a huge impact on the game. I do think that, both of these guys probably understand each other's tendencies and aggressiveness. And if you want to learn where Dan Campbell, gets the gambling from, I mean, Sean Payton kicked an onside kick to open the second half of a Super Bowl, right?
I was so happy because I've often said I would have started the game off with an onside kick in the Super Bowl. Nobody's expecting that. So
I'm sure that all week, this is a mental week, right? This is a short week. Late in the season, you're not getting a bunch of physical work in. You're not, doing one-on-ones and all the dirty grinding stuff you do early in the season with pads on. This is more of a mental preparation week. And I think that I guarantee you that popped up in every meeting this week. Be prepared for, the unscouted looks. Be prepared for something to pop up, because as much as we say, hey, the Lions are kind of at a crossroads, right? Their backs still aren't technically against the wall. This isn't a must-win game when you look at the standings. This is a big game for them. This is a must-win game for the Broncos, though, for where they're at in their division, their playoff.
I think they're ninth right now, outside looking in.
But they still have hope. They still have a chance. So I'm sure that, Dan went into every single meeting, offense, defense, everything, special teams. Guys, hey, something is probably going to happen this game where, whether it's an onside kick, whether it's a fake punt, fake field goal, something is probably going to happen. I think that's where, when you talk about Dan and Sean coaching together, it might be a gamble fest. Who can come out,
and that's
who can double down enough and come out on top, to win this game. But I don't think it makes a huge impact on it. And maybe we're all fools. Maybe they know. Maybe they're doing reverse psychology where it's, hey, he thinks I'm going to fake this. He thinks I'm going to do this. Boom, we're going to do something different. And then it turns out to be a nothing, the entire game. But the first question, I think, honestly, 3-1 over these next 4 games is it's fair, I think. You look at, obviously, the longer this week has went on, the more confident I'm starting to feel about this game tomorrow. I watched the film. I watched Denver. You say This is a completely different team than what they started the season. We know that. I think they were 1-6, I want to say.
Yeah, they look like they were done.
Or 1-5. And Sean Payton even mentioned the inspiration for, changing the season around, what Detroit and Dan did last year in the last 10 games. He mentioned that, week 6 or week 7 when they were hitting their losing skid. But I feel confident. I do. For some reason, I just do. This is a good team. They haven't played good 3 out of the 4 last games, and it's kind of come in bunches right now.
Because let's not forget, as bad as last night's game was, Denver had a worse game this year.
Right. Now that felt like a long time ago when they let up 70 points to the Dolphins.
70-20. They actually gave up 70.
And
the Chargers didn't.
Right. Yeah, but
week 3.
That's a sign of a good coach. It's Sean Payton, because that would have been really easy. You're sitting there 1-5. You just let up a 70 burger for guys to start, coach, back ain't feeling good today. My hamstring's a little tight. You know what I mean? But he turned it around. And Russ turned it around, right? Russ started playing better football. Their defense turned it around, though. I think the defense since week 6, since that game, they're only allowing about 16 points a game, which I want to say is number 2 in the NFL over that span. So I kind of heard you talking earlier this show about Russ and playing good. He is playing good, but he's managing the game.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He's not playing great.
Their defense is playing really good, and Russ is doing what he has to do to get out of stadiums with a win. I think that's been the biggest difference. But as this week has gone on, I look at this game, and I'd be really disappointed, really, really disappointed if the Lions lose tomorrow. I really would. I think especially offensively, look, Denver does some good things defensively, but I think you have mismatches. I would be extremely disappointed if our offensive line doesn't have an outstanding game. I think there are favorable matchups across the entire front 7 for our offensive line against Denver's front. I don't see them they don't have a game changer. They try to confuse you. If they get you into a 3rd and long, they're going to try to confuse you with some pressure looks and 3 down and 4 down, and hey, they're blitzing 8. The next, they're dropping 8. You know what I mean? They're bringing 6 defensive backs on the field, and 4 of them are so they try to confuse you. You want to stay out of that type of game. But when you look at the run game and you look at the lanes and you look at the creases and you look at our guys versus theirs, I cannot find one matchup in the front 7 for Denver's defense against our offensive line where I'm saying, hey, we got to worry about this guy. We got to double team that guy. We got to know where this guy's at. I don't see that. I think this is a game that our offensive line needs to completely dominate. And when they do, it's proven over time that Jared Goff plays really well when this offensive line plays well. I'd be shocked if our offensive line does not have a great game tomorrow.
TJ, there's one concern. There's one matchup that I do want to ask you about that I see the Lions having a problem with. I'll give you that next, along with your phone calls, your ticket text, 248-539-9797. TJ Lang joining me right here, 97.1.